Hello, 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 Stamping Friends. This is Caron, your ATX Stampin' Lady. I am excited to share with you this evening day 5 of the 12 days of crafting advent calendar from Stampin' Up. I am Caron Bailey, your ATX Stampin' Lady, and I'm ready to get crafting. Apologize for going a little bit late tonight. I got caught up. Sorry about that, guys. Um, I definitely am realizing that as the weather changes, excuse me, my allergies, they just kick right in. All right, you guys, I am excited. So let's do a quick recap, yeah, of the day 1 to day 5 so far, of what we've got going on in the 12 days of crafting kit. Hold on, you guys. Excuse me, I'm just trying to go live here, trying to see where I am and what's going on. Why are you not sharing? Why can't I see you? Okay. I always try to make sure that I'm online with you guys so that I can see and try to respond if necessary. So give me just a quick second. I tell you, trying to do this sometimes is by myself, and I'm gonna have to figure out automations. I like to put systems in place, so I'm gonna end up having to figure that part out. But give me just a quick second, y'all, and I will be ready to rock and roll. Okay, here we go. There we go. Awesome. I think we're ready to go now. All right. Sorry about that. Before we get started, um, if you reserved your seat for class tomorrow, I'm going to do a sneak peek of card number 1 for our coffee and a card, scheduled for 1 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. Where did I put it? At Mandola's Italian restaurant. So this is the first card, and I'm going to do a little quick sneak peek. We are making 2 Christmas cards for my coffee and a card. You get to create 1 card, 2 cards with all the materials and envelopes, and you get to make enjoy a coffee and or beverage and or a gelato as part of your class fee. So I'm totally excited about that. And here's the card. I chose a red palette. So we're going to learn a little bit about coloring with alcohol markers. That's one of the classes tomorrow. So I hope you guys are gonna, if you have registered, I have 10 kits for those who have reserved. Anything that's left over will be available in my online store as a add-on, as a gift with purchase. All right, so let's go get back to the project at hand. The 2025 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar from Stampin' Up. This is the first time that Stampin' Up is doing an Advent Calendar. And so far, you guys, I am totally excited about everything that I've seen. So there are 12 days, as you can see, of goodies. And so far, we have opened day 1, day 2, 3, 4, and day 5. Let me share with you what comes with that. So with your purchase, and the kit is $99. I know some say that it's a lot, but you guys, it's turning out to be a full sweet compliment. And so it is very much worth the $99. Okay, so part of the $99 is the stamp set. This stamp set comes with the kit, and so far we have used the flower, we've used the butterfly, we've not used, and I'm gonna call this a cupcake. I think that's what that is. We've used birthday wishes, miss you, and for someone extra special. My goal is to go through and use every single one of the stamps in the project in some way, shape, or form. So day one, when we opened the kit, we got dies, coordinating dies. Now, the die does not coordinate with every single stamp that's in there. So we have this coordinates, the leaf coordinates, and then there's some extra dies. I'm excited to use these. I've seen some other projects created by demonstrators with this. I'm excited to use this, and that might be my next project, depending on what the reveal is. So this was day one. Day two was our designer series paper. And where did I put that? I put it somewhere so it'd be out of the line of fire. My line of fire, of course, and now I don't know where I put it. Oh, is that it? No. I told you. Nope, that's not it either. Guys, I don't know where I put it. Nope, that's not it either. I'll bring it back out so you can see the designer series paper. And then day three were our gems. These are not self-adhesive, so you will have to add adhesive to it. Day four was my bag was a little open, so I gotta put stuff back in. Day four was the labels or sentiment strips or sheets. I don't know what you want to call them, but these were laser cut already. And then day five, last night we did our reveal. We had a stencil set and this little detail blending brush. Now this is not a brush that's typically sold in Stampin' Up, so this is exclusive to this kit. I am hoping, however, though, that Stampin' Up does decide um, to start producing um, detail blending brushes. These are awesome. Okay, so this is what we have to work with tonight. I don't know that we'll be using the stamp set. So what I have done is I have a piece of cardstock. This is what is this? 4 1/4. It's a quarter panel, quarter sheet of A2 cardstock, right? And I've taped it down to this is just a piece of chipboard that came in one of the kits. So I just tape it down so it doesn't move. There are grip mats and other things that you can buy on the market, but I'm just wanting to share with you that you don't have to buy things, additional supplies. You really can just use things that you have around the house. So if you have a poster board, chipboard, any of that kind of stuff, you can just tape your card panel down to that so it doesn't move when you're going through your stencil process. Now let me tell you a little bit about the stencils. Stampin' Up calls them masks, but so if you hear me use the term a mask or a stencil, they're in essence the same things, just terminology, and Stampin' Up uses the term masks. There are 4 stencils that are masks that came in the day 5 release. And they are numbered. The numbers are etched in the upper left-hand corner, and that pretty much gives you an order in which you should use your stencils. Can you go out of order? Absolutely. Is it recommended? Not really. It's just you have the option. It's just easier if you do things um, in order. Now, the other beautiful thing about the Stampin' Up, um, these masks, is that they're notched, okay? And what this notch does is it gives you a reference point, okay, as to where you can put your mask back every single time. So when we're getting ready to start stenciling, wherever we're going to align this, we're going to grab a pencil or a pen or whatever it is we're going to use, and we're just going to notch, right? So every time we put our masks in place, for them to be aligned correctly, we just need to make sure that we align the masks, okay? Now we'll also align it here, but we're going to make sure this is our guide. Now other companies and other do reference points. I believe that's what they called. Um, like little dots. And so as long as you line those dots up, then of course you will be aligned. Now, the Stampin' Up! Brushes, and you can still use Stampin' Up! Brushes. There's nothing says you can't use them. However, when you are working with smaller images sometimes, and more detailed, it's just easier to use more details, smaller detail brush, so you can kind of get into what needs to be done. I'm going to share some tips with you for tonight also, making sure that when you are adding ink to your brush and to your project, um, sometimes you want to go in with a light hand, because it's always easier to add more color than to take it away. So you want to start with a light hand, and then if you need to build color, then you can add a little bit more pressure to your brush. The smaller areas that you get into, you'll need detailed brush. You also have a little bit more control. You can leave the bristles as is, and then if you want a little bit more control, just kind of pinch them just a little bit so they're firmer and you can get tight. Now, I have all kinds of blending brushes because I love blending, but let's just dive right in and get started. The other thing that you're going to need and I find that I use a lot with my stenciling or my masking, whatever you want to call it, is um, what are these things called? Sticky notes, right? Or masking paper. And what you do with that is you kind of mask off the areas that you're not working with to avoid transfer of color, right? You're also going to you might need, you don't have to use it, but you might need some masking tape. I love the wall safe tape from Scotch. This is what I've used. And I just add a little piece to the mask itself. It's not necessary, but sometimes you get a little involved and it's just easier to have the masking tape to secure the mask itself. Okay? Some other tips when you're masking or stenciling is on the finer detailed making sure that you kind of go in a circular motion and then counterclockwise, and sometimes you'll find that depending on the detail, you'll kind of do a flicking motion to add your inks. All right, I've done a lot of talking and I haven't done any coloring, so let's go ahead and create that. Now, I've worked in the color palettes that I've worked in, um, so I think I'm going to stick with that color palette just to I'm going to create some consistency in the cards that we create. So I've used Timid Tiger, the pinks. I think those are in the flowers as well. So I'm going to do my flowers in, okay, so I'm going to start with Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush. Now, to make sure that I don't accidentally on purpose ink where I don't want to, this is where I mask off those areas. Okay. I'm going to do two different colors of my flowers. So anything that's covered, obviously, I'm not going to um, there we go. And I'm going to try as much as possible just to use the items that comes in um, the kit. So I'm just going to make sure I load up my brush. And again, I just want to start slow, lightly. So you can always do in a circular motion. And I tend to go darker around the center and then blend out. So it'll be a lot lighter on the outer of the petals. That gives a little bit more detail, a little bit of highlighting, blending, shading, and depth to your color, to your image. I dab off. That's a little small, so that's probably not going to take too much blending. Now you also have the option of just dabbing, and I believe the technical term for that is called stippling. And if I want more color in the center, I'm going to stipple that exactly where I want it to be. Okay. I think my next set of flowers, now theoretically I would work my colors, my pinks first, then my next colors, and so on and so forth. That's the order in which I would do that. But I don't want to go stencil to stencil and go back and forth. So I'm going to bring in another one of my fine detail brushes and use that one so that I can go back and forth. This is Timid Tiger, and I'm going to do the same thing. Again, concentrating on the center, laying down most of my color, and then expanding it out. Okay? This one's a little bit smaller, so I don't have that option. Can stipple that in. And then bring that out. Guys, if you do not have extra brushes, here's what you can do to, if you're going to switch in between colors. And I'm going to use another set because I don't want to I don't want to, so if you're using other brushes, what I try to do, if you only have one brush, is with alcohol, And I use alcohol because alcohol dries fast, right? So with 91% alcohol, and I'll just blend, clear the brush right in there. You see it's coming out. Now some colors will stain your brush, and so it may not look like it's clean, but it might be very well be clean. Okay? And then I'll just rub it on either another piece of paper towel, and you can see that it's gone. Now this brush will be dry in just a matter of seconds, so you can now use it to continue to create for another color. But I'm just going to grab another brush because I have them. All right. Now I think the other colors that I used blues and yellows. So I'm gonna, let's go with uh, cloud cover. Oops. And let's start with cloud cover. I hadn't really thought about what I'm gonna do with my stenciled piece once I'm done with it. I really haven't. Now, guys, if you remember, this cloud cover ink pad is not available. There was at the beginning of the release, there was some sort of a problem with the quality of the ink pads, I think it was. And so, as demonstrators, we were able to purchase the ink pad itself, but they weren't. I don't believe they were available to customers. So, what the cloud cover is with the refill, ink refill, and one of our ink cubes. Or if you have the ink pad, you kind of wash this color out and then refill it or re-ink it with the ink pad. Okay, we're going to move on to number 2. Now the thing about this is I'm working on a panel that's way bigger than the sheet, so if the tape does happen to do what it does to paper, then we can always um, cut around it. And again, I just spritz some alcohol ink, some alcohol, and I clean my stencils right away. Okay, now we're moving on to stencil number 2. We're going to use our marker, but not only the marker, guys, making sure that we line up. Okay, our 2 is there. Making sure that we line our notches up. All right. And then any other points within the image that we can align. Okay. All right, so I use Pretty in Pink for layer stencil number 1. I'm going to now use Strawberry Slush for stencil number 2. And I'm going to do the same thing. Start light. and then blend out. Just making sure not to go under. And then make sure that when you blend, you do clockwise and counterclockwise. Hopefully I'm connected. And when I say connected, I mean there we go. And I'm just going to stipple this color in over here. Okay, gonna go back, use some of that extra color, and then blend out. Now, if you're not familiar, any of the reds generally tend to stain. All right, so we had Timid Tiger for our first layer, and I should have started with pretty, what is that called? Peach pie, I think is what it was called. All right, so now let me grab, I think I'm gonna go with Calypso Coral. Yeah, it's a little bit darker. Start center, get some of that ink off, and then blend out. And then stipple our Calypso Coral into that little spot. Okay. And then for our blue, let's go with Blueberry Bushel is like my favorite blue. I mean, I love blue, period. But Blueberry Bushel is just my favorite. It's very close to Royal Blue, and Royal Blue is not only my sorority colors, but it's also my favorite colors. Now you start with a light hand because again, you can't take it away once it's on. But if you want to go darker, of course you can add more ink. All right. That's stencil number 2. Let's see what we've got going so far. And this is why I said tonight I'm not sure we'll be able, if we'll make a card. Stenciling can take a while, especially if you haven't like definitively identified your color scheme, which I kind of have not. So I'm kind of just playing with it as I go. But we just have 2 more masks to go. Perfect. Oops. And that's stencil number 2, cleaned and ready to go. All right, now to number 3. So number 3, we're bringing in leaves, right? And this is why it's important for the notches, guys, because there's really nothing in common with what we've already stamped, right? So making sure that we line everything up with that reference point is going to kind of be important at this stage. Excuse me. Don't know where that came from. All right. So now we need some greens. And for leaves, I love Old Olive and um, Granny Apple Green. Those are the greens I tend to gravitate towards for my greens, my leaves. But I think I'm going to play with Garden Green and Old Olive. I'm going to start with Old Olive. All right, so I'm going to clean this brush because we're kind of done with the other colors. So let's go ahead and clean this brush a little bit. And again, that is just alcohol, 91%. Dry that off. Our ink pads are water-based, so we don't want to put this still wet with alcohol back into our ink pad. Okay, so we want this to dry off. And the beauty of alcohol is that it dries fairly quickly. Yep, there we go. Nope, there's still some color in there. All right, let's get to our leaves. And when I color, most of the times I do a lot, it's always darker towards the bottom, or for my highlighting. That's generally how I tend to color anyway. So my blending style kind of just follows suit. And you can see I'm kind of stippling in the color where I want it to be a little bit more dark, a little bit darker. Now stippling will give it a little bit different texture than if you're blending. So that's also another tip and technique um, for you when it comes to masking. If you kind of just use the circular motions and stuff when you are blending, it'll just be a little bit smoother. When you do the stippling technique, it gives it a little bit of a texture. All right, so that's it for this stencil. And now we're going to go to stencil number 4. Or mask number 4. Sorry, I learned them as to be stencils. So that is the term that I gravitate to. But Stampin' Up! Does call them masks. Yeah, my allergies are starting to kick in. I feel it. Is everybody ready for the weekend? It's the weekend, baby. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. There we go. And I'm going to use a garden green on this one. And I'm only going to do the green for the leaves. So let me make sure that I cover up what I don't want. Because sometimes, you know, when you're in the middle of stuff, you'll be like, oh no, I forgot this. And you'll go color it, but you didn't mean to color it. You needed to put it in a different color. So if it's covered, you're not looking to get in there, right? I must say, I'm not particularly fond of this brush. Oops, see, I'm almost getting ready to blend over that thing. The little center of, so I'm stippling in the color for the stems of the leaves, adding some shading on the others. I kind of just turn the bristle over. I'm not a big fan of this brush. I'm just being honest with you. Okay, one more set down here. Stipple that in. And I'm going to do something a little bit different for my flower centers. Finding out that I have to work a little bit more with this brush. Okay. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a palette knife and I'm going to add a little paste. But I got to find my palette knife first. And I had not planned on doing that, so I don't have any water in here. Yes, I do. I have some. Yes, I do. Here's my palette knife. That I can stick it right in there afterwards. I don't need a lot. I'm just going to put some right here, some right there, some right there, and right there. That will just give our flower centers a little bit of sparkle and shine. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we have created here. Look at that, you guys. What do you think? especially with paste, guys, you gotta clean it very quickly. So I sprayed the alcohol on there, and then I'm gonna spray some water on it. All right, until I can go get it dumped into water. So here's our finished piece. Now, I'm just going to keep it this one, and I'm going to make this my focal image for today. So what else you can do is you can turn your stencil, depending on what you're doing, and make your own designer series paper similar to this, right? So you can make your own designer series paper just by then now starting over with stencil number 1, but maybe rearranging where you have um, the stencil starting, right? And where you're putting them. Because now you don't have to put everything in the same place. You can mix and match, toss and turn, depending upon the aesthetic that you're working with, right? Because you know the most important thing is to line up the notches. All right. All right, so here's what we have. I'm going to let this sit for a second and dry because I do want the paste to dry while I kind of figure out what I'm going to make with this card. And then the other thing you can do, there are dies. Let me move some of these things out of the way, right? Because now I'm overrun. I don't have much workspace left. So hold on just a quick second. Let me do a quick clean and put some of these things away. Stenciling always goes a little bit faster if you kind of have your color scheme, your colors in mind. I find, at least for me, it does. All right, I think we've got some space now. It's getting hard to breathe. Something is messing with my sinuses. It's getting a little hard to breathe. Okay, so if you'll notice, I believe will this work on here? No, this will not work on there. I thought it would, but it will not. So you can fussy cut each of these individually and have them as individual pieces, or you can use it as a focal image, which is what I'm pretty much planning on doing tonight. All right, so while that dries, let me figure out what I'm going to do with about the rest of everything. So I think let's see, we did the blue yesterday. We did a little bit of green. So we might focus on the orange, okay, which is the timid tiger. So let's work on something for timid tiger. Okay. And while that's doing that, I told y'all I'm big into splattering these days. So I gotta splatter some color in there. I have to. Um, I don't know. Let's go with this one. And I just play with colors. I'd have no rhyme or reason. I just play with the colors. Okay. And splattering just adds just a little bit of something extra to the project. So you see how that splatter just adds a little something? All right. So let's see. My card bases tend to be, um, hmm, trying to think about what I'm going to do with this. I'm thinking the darling duckling is kind of where I'm going to go with that. Oops. I'm excited about what because my mind is going. I'm not talking a lot at this moment because my brain is thinking. It's saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I'm thinking, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But we're going to make something, you guys. We have to. That's what tonight is all about. All right, so I think I might want to bring out my heat tool a little bit just to um, for it to quick dry a little bit faster. All right, so let's take a look and see. Let's bring our trimmer in and see what we're going to work with here. So we already know our panel to start is 5.5, right? So if we cut almost straight to the top of this, because we know we're gonna cut that off. That's where our reference point was. So we're now at 4 3/4, right? So if we make this I think, where are we at? We're at 3.5. We are at a 3.5, and this is 4 1/4. So if we make this 3.5 by, oh, okay, so we're going to work with a piece that's 3.5 by 3 3/4. Then we're going to need a mat piece, and this time I normally do 1/8 of an inch mat, but I think I'm going to go a full 1/4 of an inch. So we went 3.5 by 3 3/4, so we're going to go 4. by 3 3/4. We're gonna mat this. Do we like it on do we like it on, let me see. I might be changing my mind. I think I like it better on the Timid Tiger. If you're watching, do you have a preference? Timid Tiger or Darling Duckling? I'm sorry, this is crushed curry. Let's see what it looks like on Darling Duckling. What do you think? I don't know. Okay. I know this one's not right. That one's not right at all. I think I still like the idea of the yellow. So we're going to cut this at 4 by 3 3/4. I think I like this one better. And then, I don't know why I just decided to do that, but I'm going to distress my edges a little bit. I know. I wanted to add just a little bit of texture, so I'm roughing it up, and this is just called distressing. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I thought I was about doing a torn edge. All right, guys, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And if you would do me the honor of liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel, that would really help me to broaden my audience and the reach of people who are able to see my crafting process. If you are returning, thank you so much. I do know it is a Friday night, and we all got things we can, parties to be, places to go, people to see, things to do on a Friday night. So I do thank you that you have chosen to add me to that list. There we go. I don't know why. Something just, and that's how I create. Sometimes there are things that just pop into your head, like, how come you don't do this? Why wouldn't you do that? And I do. If it pops in and I like it, then that's what I do. So something said to distress our edges, so I did. So now I'm going to add our distressed image to our mat. We are going to add a sentiment, and then add this panel to our card base, and we'll be done with our card. And then we can see what we're working with for day 6. I hope you guys are really enjoying this kit. I am. I really, really am. I don't think there's a product, an item that I have been disappointed in. I know I didn't particularly care for the blending brush, and that's okay. I just, I'm particular about my blending brushes, I believe. But the stencils were amazing. Where is my bone folder? If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you are in the US, I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator um, to help you with your creativity. All right, so here we've got that. And then I'm gonna, oh, I should use these labels because they came in the pack. Okay, I'm gonna use it. But, oh, I know I can mat it with black. Do I have any black cardstock around? Yes, I do. Let's see. What will fit on, what will fit on what? Not gonna fit. All right, so, oh, this one. This one right here. Okay, I found it. That one's gonna fit. So, let's see. Thinking of you. We're gonna go with thinking of you. That will definitely fit on the die cut piece that we chose, I think. No, it will not. It's a little bit too big. What about this one? Always in my, oh yeah, that one will fit. All right, so we've got what we need there. What do I do with my sentiment block? All right. Oh, that's got a stamp on it already. Now, ordinarily, I would not use such a big block for such a little sentiment. It just, it'll create a little bit more havoc than is necessary. And you might rock the stamp, um, which is why I generally don't do a big, such a small sentiment on such a big block. But it's what's readily available right now, so that's what I'm doing. Let's make sure we condition this enough. Okay, that'll work. Okay. And then we are just going to stamp always in my heart. Perfect. Grab me just a little piece of black. This is not a little piece of black, but it'll have to do. What do you think about the projects that we've created so far using the kits, the calendar pieces? I think that's kind of where that needs to be. That's already giving me my edges on that side. So I really just need to worry about that side. Okay. So I really did just want to do something very simple tonight. I knew our masking was going to take us quite a bit of time tonight. That's too much. About right there. Perfect. Now nope, let's put it in this way. I'm looking at, let's do that. That might work a lot. Perfect. I love it. All right, and now, last but not least, I'm just going to banner up the center, making sure I try to match where the other banner is, and then flag my matte piece, just like that. Are you guys done with your Christmas cards? I have quite a bit done. I'm almost 100% finished. And I'm just going to put this guy right here. I really don't want to block any of um, the flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I can put this right to that corner. I can put it in the center. I can put it towards the bottom. Where do you think we should put what do you think we should put the sentiment? Off to the right? The left? In the center? Or the right? And while we're doing that, I think I am going to put it on a piece of basic white card base. Anybody? About where we should put our sentiment? Make sure that's lined up over there. So our card would look like this. Like that. I think we're going to put that in the center. That's where I see it going. All right, so we're almost done with this guy. We took a little bit longer tonight. Stenciling does take a little bit, masking, stenciling does take a little bit of extra time, especially if you are kind of winging it with your design element. Um, but theoretically, you could generally finish this card in a lot less time than it took us to do this video. One, you see how it's already done, so you'll know the parts and pieces that you already need. Right? All right, so let's line this up. And we're going to come in about, for an even, about 3/4 of an inch on both sides. That's about right. And that should place us about center. Oh. Is anybody watching Stranger Things on Netflix? I just discovered that. I've heard about it, but I was never interested in watching it. But all of a sudden, I am. And let me tell you, I'm on season 2. I binged watched season 1. Oh, that's not straight. Not straight, not straight. That's about right. There we go. I binge watched season 1. I'm binging season 2. Well, I'm probably going to binge the whole thing. And I understand that the last season just came available on Netflix. All right. Uh-huh. And we've got to use the embellishments because they were the reveal, so we got to use them. Uh-huh. Come on. Not sure why I'm having such a difficult time with these things. They don't want to do what I want them to do. There we go. So I think that's there. Put one there. I think that's how we're going to put them. Yeah, we're just going to do 3. Okay. Well, now that we know where we want them, we're going to add our adhesive. And you guys, we are done with this card. Come on, let go, let go. There we go. And we are done with this card. I'm liking it. I do love it. Okay, so what do you think? I think we have a little bit of a glare here. Do you see how much shimmer and shine there is on this? Love this card. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Woohoo! And this, guys, is day 5 in the bag. All right, who's ready to see what day 6 has got for us? Me, me, me. All right, so we are going to be working with tomorrow. Oh, put that back on because I am blind as a bat. This is our day 6. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay. You know what? This is so perfect, right? Because there's that cupcake image that's in the stamp set. I've been wanting to work with it, so guess what we're going to work with tomorrow? Ooh, love these. These are so cute. All right, guys, if you are in need of a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions about any of the processes or products that I have used in tonight's video or any of the videos that you happen to watch. Please reach out to me. My contact information is scrolling across the top of the screen. My website is and of course you can always visit my online store at www.sweetsignatures.stampinup.net. These are absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Take a look at them. There's 2 sets, cherries, bows, rainbows, cupcakes, florals, and I think these are strawberries. So these are just very cute, very spring. The colors are very spring. So even though it's a kit or an item that you'll buy, maybe for yourself for Christmas or a friend for Christmas, you don't have to make Christmas cards with them. You can. There's nothing that says you cannot use Christmas colors. But there's nothing in this kit that says this is Christmas. Okay? All right, guys, so let me just go ahead and bring our cards that we have created thus far with the products in the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar Kit. All right, day 1, day 2. I'm going to call this day 3, 4, but I owe you a day 3. And day 5. All the beautiful cards that we have created. Guys, on that note, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I know you had the opportunity to do anything and anything else, but that you've chosen to spend the time with me. I am so humbled, and I do appreciate that. On that note, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time as we work with the puffy stickers that we just got for day 6. Good night and happy stamping.